It's 2023, and with the new year comes Sony's first PlayStation Plus lineup. Spoilers, it's not too bad. 3 new games, 2 big open worlds, and 1 indie gem will be sure to keep players and trophy hunters satisfied as they pop their platinums right the way through to February. Our first game of the lineup is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, a game that is set between the events of Revenge of the Sith with the downfall of the Jedi Order and the growing strength of the Rebellion in A New Hope. Players will fill the shoes of Cal Kestis, a former Padawan who is then thrust into an adventure of cat and mouse against the Imperial threat. You'll be facing off against various different enemies, including stormtroopers and weird goat things. It's quite fun. There's also some giant frogs, because why not? Now, the game is semi-open world. You'll be going through several different environments, several classic planets, as well as a couple of newer ones, I believe, that might have been made for the game itself, which is quite cool. The story's nothing particularly special, but it will have you engaged with several fun puzzles on the way and quite a few unique boss fights that are they're okay. They're okay. The combat itself is very Soulsy. It's kind of like a baby's first Dark Souls. It has nothing quite to the depth or skill as something like Bloodborne, for example, or even Elden Ring, but it is solid and it does work. As for the trophies, there is nothing really special here at all. It's like a 3 out of 10 difficulty for about 30 hours to platinum it. If you already do have the platinum on PS4, you could go and auto pop it should you please. I won't be doing that personally, but go for your life. You will have to channel your inner Jedi for several combat trophies, and you will have to also become a metal detector for the 4,000 collectibles, because it's an open world game in 2020, I think this game was released in. I can't quite remember, and I'm too lazy to look it up. But it's okay. The biggest flaw with this game, in my opinion, is definitely the map and the navigation. You have several planets and several sort of large open world hubs, I would say. Like I said, they are filled with collectibles, but the map is kind of like a hologram 3D sort of view, which does make navigation quite difficult, I will say. Overall, this game does get a gold trophy on the Simi Scale of Glory, a new scaling system that I'm going to bring into 2023 with the PS Plus offerings. The game is good. It's got a solid story that will keep you engaged without being anything too special, and the combat is the exact same. It's okay. It's not going to challenge anyone who is a fan of the Souls games. There's not really a skill requirement at all for it, not like Bloodborne, for example, but it is okay. And it is, this game being on Plus is just in time for Jedi Survivor, which will be coming out later this year. Next up, we have Bethesda's Fallout 76, which is an interesting choice, especially given that the game has a mixed at best sort of overall review aggregate by most people. It has definitely come a long way since its launch, where it was very buggy. PTSD for when I had to do level 100 twice because the trophy didn't pop. Taking place in the temperate forests of the Appalachia, players will explore the mutated world alongside companions and creepy monsters. It's kind of fun, with the end goal being something, I don't know, maybe finding the subscribe button. Whilst the game was heavily broken on launch, it has come a long way, to be fair, and now actually has NPCs, which should have just been a thing at launch. In regards to trophies, this game is definitely a beefy boy, with at least 100 hours for the base game and probably another 100 hours for the DLC alone. So glad I have that in my future. Send help, please. The overall difficulty is a 4 out of 10. This isn't because of anything difficulty based, except for maybe killing the Hive Queen or whatever it's called. It's a giant bat thing. It looks weird. It's average. It's a raid boss, essentially, like in something, say, like Destiny. However, I will say that the difficulty is probably there because you do need another player for several of the trophies, such as reviving someone 25 times. Fallout 76 is getting a bronze, which is funny because in my opinion, the game is actually better than Fallout 4. At least this game isn't just 50 shades of brown. However, I cannot deny that the story is boring and the combat feels like it was made in 2008, probably because it was. The gameplay has not changed since Fallout 3, and that was so long ago, over a decade. Which, you know, at that point you need to make changes, which is something Bethesda seems to refuse to do. I think it's actually the same game engine as well, which is terrifying. Last up we have Axiom Verge 2, a sequel to the original game wherein the player is sent to Antarctica to search for their missing daughter. The game itself is a Metroidvania, and a solid one at that, with power-ups and items being awarded to players with a keen eye and a sense for exploration. Axiom Verge 2 is a relatively cruisy platinum with a 3 out of 10 difficulty. this being largely attributed to various different playthroughs that you'll have to undertake, such as a no-death run and a 6-hour speed run, as well as a couple of playthroughs wherein you have to beat them having found a certain amount of percentage in the game of item discovery and stuff like that. It's a little complicated, but there are different sort of assist mode sliders wherein enemies will deal less damage and all that sort of fun stuff, making it a bit more cruisy than initially intended. It also looks like the 6-hour speedrun is way more time than you'll actually need, with a typical speedrun taking about 2 hours. The rest of the trophies here are standard affair, with things like beating bosses, popping trophies, finding certain items, and destroying 1,000 blades of grass. Axiom Verge 2 gets the gold trophy with a strong Metroidvania emphasis in the gameplay and the most challenging trophy list on offer this month in my opinion. I'll definitely be playing this one on release. And there we have it, our first lineup for PS Plus this year. Are there any of these games you're going to play? Let me know in the comments below. I will definitely be doing at least Axiom Verge myself. I do already have the other 2 Platinums, once a piece each, but I could technically go and do Jedi Fallen Order. I don't think I will, but it could also be a fun prelude to going into Survivor later this year. Anyway, this has been the video. I miss you already. Hugs and kisses, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.